absurd. But we will find out if it will help or hurt him because Michael Bennett said that he will do it the entire season. And he has had a presser about it already, and he sounds like he's going to actually start a change. When Kaepernick went ahead and started his, he made awareness, but I think we're going to start seeing more and more players do this.
So it looks like Bennett's going to take the charge here. Okay, yeah,
yes.
All right. Well, on the whole side of the Marshawn incident, if you want to call it an incident, the Raiders coach Jack Del Rio, he took a very professional standpoint on Lynch. He stated that he believed in standing for the anthem, but he said Lynch is a grown man and he can do what he pleases. That's very respectful for a coach. I respect that. If you want to do what you so please, whatever platform you want to use it on, so be it. And as we said already, this is a sign for more to come by NFL players. Let it happen. Kaepernick did say if he got signed, though, he would stand for the national anthem. So it is one thing to keep in mind. All right, let's stop beating a dead horse. In other news, kicker Roberto Aguayo, he was released by the Buccaneers. He was released by the Buccaneers after being the highest drafted kicker. He was drafted in the second round last year. They actually traded up to get him because he was the most accurate kicker in college football history. Well, he was not so accurate last year, and he missed a field goal and an extra point in week 1 of the preseason. He was released and then later claimed by the Chicago Bears. Brian, do you think that he can bounce back, and does he still have a career in this league as a kicker?
It's sad to say, but I'm glad somebody did go ahead and, give him another chance. Maybe change of scenery is what he needs. I've seen, especially kickers, change of scenery gives you a whole different new confidence. You don't have the same players disappointed in you when you come back to the sideline after a kick. You have other people that are rooting for you. So I would like to see him succeed there. I'll say yeah. I'll say he can bounce back from this.
Okay, yeah, and I hope he does. I mean, you don't want to see anybody, especially with that much potential, fall off. So, and also, there's been some news going around about Kirk Cousins and the San Francisco 49ers, Brian. Now, don't get too into this. This is talking about next season. So, if you don't know, Kirk Cousins is franchise tagged by the Washington Redskins, and there was a report come out that said that the Niners are the front runners to grab up Cousins in free agency next year. Cousins then replied and said he would like to spend his entire career in Washington, even though he is playing under this franchise tag this year. Brian, what story are you buying? Obviously, I feel we should side on Cousins. Do you see him being a Redskin next year? Maybe a Niner? But with all of this being said, does Cousins need to play with a chip on his shoulder this year?
All right. Of course, Kirk Cousins says he wants to play in Washington next year. If he gets franchise tagged again, that's another 25% above the highest paid quarterback he gets. So he'd be making bank if he gets franchised for the third year in a row.
So you're saying it's about the money?
Oh, sure. Definitely.
Okay.
If he wants to be a Redskin, that's the only way I see that, because they've treated him almost as bad as the Knicks treat Carmelo Anthony. But yeah, I think he'll play with a chip on his shoulder this year, just because he is basically being told, we don't believe in you enough to give you, X amount of guaranteed money. But, we'll give you this franchise tag because we don't want you to go anywhere else.
All right, real quick.
So he's kind of being held there against his own will.
Okay, yeah. Real quick, are we going to see an improvement of Cousins, or are we going to see him on a downslope this season?
Ooh, I don't know if he can improve.
Yeah, he did play.
He's been pretty legit the last couple of years.
He did play very well.
I don't see we see him downgrade. I think he'll just stay right at that plateau. I think this is his ceiling.
Okay.
Don't get me wrong. I don't think he's going to be an Aaron Rodgers or anything, but I do think he can put up like Eli Manning numbers each and every year. I think that's about where he is.
All right. And finally, we're going to end this segment on what could be the most talked about story of this NFL season. Megatron.
This is a fun one.
Former Detroit Lions wide receiver Calvin Johnson Jr. has made some remarks on a possible return. He retired at the end of the 2015 season with what everyone thought was due to lingering injuries, but as more and more comes out, it was due to the fact that he was not getting anywhere in that Lions organization. It seems like the guy wants to win. This could be an interesting case, Brian, but as you know, there's some different factors if he decides to come back out of retirement. Go ahead and give us the details, Brian.
All right. So if he decided to come back, his contract says that he's owed $16 million for this season. Detroit doesn't have that cap space, so they would either have to cut players to make room for him. They would have to try to trade players to get that cap room, or they would have to simply release Calvin Johnson Jr.
Who would think that you'd have to release Megatron? When would you ever just think of the fact that he would just get cut? That's insane.
That's a scary thought.
And the same thing happened with the whole Brett Favre thing, if you remember, when he decided to come back to Green Bay, but Green Bay had the cap, so they could hold on to him until they made that trade with the Jets. It doesn't seem like they could do it over in Detroit. So we hope that this isn't the only time we're talking about it for sure. Brian, how realistic do you think we see Calvin Johnson Jr. in shoulder pads this year? And if so, do we see him in Detroit, or what other teams could we see him in?
All right, so honestly, I don't see him coming back this year. It was nice to see him in training camps and helping out. I believe it was the Miami Dolphins that we seen him in.
Yeah, it was in Miami.
It was nice seeing him out there, and still, you can tell he still has that fire in him to want to play. But I think it'd be too much for him to come back, and Detroit would have to try to figure all this out, and then he could basically get offers, but it's not going to be anything near $16 million. So I honestly don't see him coming back. I'd say probably a 25% chance that he comes back and plays this year. I'm not even sure who would have the cap space to sign him. Teams that always have cap space are teams like the 49ers, the Browns, Jaguars. But like you said, he wants to win.
Right.
He ain't going to play for any of them teams. So I don't see him coming back unless he is okay making little money.
Well, hopefully that's the case. If he does choose to come back, and obviously he wants to win, that winning comes before a paycheck. We'll see. Like I said, we hope this isn't the only time we talk about this story. And if we find out more, we'll be sure to talk about it on our next episodes. That's going to wrap it up for us here at Benchcasters. We thank you for listening and hope you stop by again later on this week as we break down our predictions for all 32 teams with AFC and NFC, even up to playoff predictions. And later on, we'll move into the Super Bowl predictions as well. Make sure you catch us on iTunes and SoundCloud and Spreaker. And don't forget to subscribe and send us some comments with your input from what we covered on the show today. Also, don't forget to give us a follow on Twitter and Facebook, where you can find all our content, including exclusive articles from our writers here at Benchcasters. You can also find us on our website at BenchCaster.com. Brian, as always, thank you.
Hey, it's been a pleasure.
And we will talk to you next time on Benchcasters.